Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Knowledge for You. Today we are going to start learning C language. First of all, while learning C language, you need to know some basics. What is a compiler? What is the use of it? How are we using it? First, to understand these concepts, let us see at some basics. See, as you have seen here, what is a machine language? Machine language is nothing but the language which is being used or understood by the system. You can say desktop or laptop, computer, anything. So, what is the machine understandable language is that it is 1 or 0. But our language or user defined language is English. I'm saying only about the standard ones. But a compiler who is translating this English into binary and binary again to English. See, you are giving instructions to your computer in English. For suppose you give a print 2 plus 3, you get output 5, but 2 and 3 are not known by the machine. So someone is converting this 2 and 3 into binary, and that sum is calculated, and that output is again being printed to 5 from binary to original number. So who is doing these things? These things are done by the compiler. Every compiler has its own language. They have C compiler, Java compiler, Python, etc. Many things. So here a compiler is nothing but it acts as an intermediate between the system and the user. That means the interconversion of user language to machine language and machine language to user language. Okay, so to clearly understand this concept, I have given you an example. Suppose you are from an X country and there is another person from Y country, and there is no common language between both of you. Then how do you communicate with her? Think for some time. So it is you don't have a common language, even you don't know English, you can't communicate. So what do? You hire a translator who can who know both the languages. So here also the translator comes under this compiler. Compiler acts as a translator between the user level language and machine language. Now let us come to the introduction of levels of language. As we know that there are three levels of language, we'll talk everything about. So low level language is nothing but every time it is machine level language. What is machine level language? We have learned that machine level language is nothing but binary language. That is system understands only zeros or ones. So next set of languages, moderate level language, that is assembly language. We have a separate as we have compiler to convert, we have assembler to convert this moderate level language to low level language. Next, high level language, all the programming languages through which we write our required functionality or code, we say. So that comes under high level language. For example, C++, Java, Python, .NET, etc. So, introduction to C compiler. Why we are calling the term C compiler? Because the compiler understands only C language. That is, it has a set of rules, a set of statements written in C language. So we call it a C compiler. Each compiler follows a set of rules or syntax here. We follow some syntax and execute them in C language. That is what the C compiler does. Unlike every compiler, C compiler also converts high level C language to low level binary language, which is understood by the machine. So I hope you got clarity of what is a compiler and what is a C compiler. Next, we will look at how the compiler converts everything. Okay, see, in whenever you see this, The high level language, that is our machine level, our user defined language, is being converted to assembly language by the assembler directly. It won't convert to machine code. Assembler, this compiler sends this high level language to assembler, and then from assembler it gets converted to binary language, and then from binary language these instructions will go to the processor, and again processor will fetch the data, and again it will do calculations to the ALU, and again it sends the required output again to the assembler again converts to high level language. So this is the process is going on there. So now let us understand some introduction about C language. C is a structured oriented programming language. What is meant by structured oriented programming language? Means it follows a certain syntax. Only with that syntax the program works or compiles. Next, we need to know who developed the C. C was developed by Dennis Ritchie and Ken Thompson in the during this 1969 and 1972 at AT&T Bell Labs. Okay, so C is a general purpose language. That means we write C programs to meet our required functionality for a purpose. So it cannot be used for web applications. It can only be used for desktop applications. A desktop application includes operating systems or creating some useful applications for your desktop, etc. Games. You can also create games using C. C is a care sensitive language. Care sensitive in the sense it can must be only written in lowercase. Lowercase means small letters, small, etc. So each and every statement or line must end with a semicolon. That is must and should. Otherwise, it will display an error while you compile. Actually, C is a byproduct of Unix operating. Byproduct in the sense they thought to make a Unix operating system, but they got wrecked as C language. So coming to next point, C does not support GUI. It supports CUI. The major difference between GUI and CUI is GUI stands for graphical user interface. Means you can access anything using icons, symbols as you have in your system. You access through Xmark to close a window. So everything that is called GUI. So in C language, you just write codes to perform to meet your functionality only using characters we call that is called as character user interface. Only support statements or commands to gain access. C programs can be executed in an IDE, that is integrated development environment. You have many IDEs you can download. They are free like Turbo C, GCC, Codeblocks, JC++, etc. I generally recommended Turbo C, but there are some errors in that also. But I mostly prefer online compiler um, because they're more efficient and they run through online libraries. Next, we need to mainly know about what is an algorithm and what is a flowchart. Algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to represent our required functionality. It always starts with a start, ends with stop. Okay, so an algorithm is nothing but it is not a program, but simply before starting a program, we write a sequence of steps that we need to implement in the code on anywhere. But you will not write this in an any program like that. I'll show you simply an example. So this is an sample algorithm. So here every algorithm must start with a start and stop. And if this is a sample algorithm of sum of two numbers. For sum of two numbers, you need to read an input, read a and b. So I read a and b. Read is a statement. You can write your own statements. Remember, this is not any program. This is just you write this on a sample paper that I will implement this sort of steps in my code. And next assign, I'll take one more variable c equal to a plus b and display c. This is just a procedure and then I'll stop. Similar to this we have flowchart. It is a step-by-step representation of functionality in pictorial form. That means everything in some pictures, and there are some rules. I will show you them. For example, we'll see. See, every you will similarly like algorithm, you'll have start and end. The start of every time start and end must be in ovals. Remember, start and end will be in ovals. Any inputs you are giving to the flow chart, that must be taken in parallelogram, and any assignments or calculations must be done in rectangles, and any output presentations also in parallelogram. Remember, start and stop in oval symbols, and any input or output must be given in parallelogram, and any assignments or calculations must be done in rectangle. Okay, so similarly, like algorithm, we use the words read to read input, calculate to calculate or assign, display to print the output. And similarly, we need to know these fundamental differences because we always write an algorithm or flowchart before implementing our code. And thank you. If you like it, please subscribe.